Hello, I am Sarah. I and my husband Adam have been married for a long time now. We even have a kid named Noah together. This is all to say that we know each other and each other's family quite well by now. We were college sweethearts who got married after we both got stable jobs and could afford things without our parents' help in any way. Both of our parents weren't super rich growing up, but they never had any issues either. I met Melissa, my current sister-in-law, for the first time when she wasn't even a teenager. She must have been about 10 when I first met Adam's family. It was clear from the way she was treated that she was everyone's favorite. She was the youngest after all. I liked her enough back then. She was quiet, if not shy, and I liked the attention her family gave her. Adam especially adored her, especially because she was a decade younger than him. He confided in me that it was often him who took care of his baby sister when their parents were off to work. That had led them to be super close. He was so close that he was her biggest confidant growing up. I always adored that about them because I didn't grow up with siblings of my own. I wouldn't even try to be an expert on siblings. Things started to go wrong when she entered her rebellious teenage years. She started to be outspoken about things, which initially I liked, but I never told Adam about it. I thought it was natural for kids to grow into themselves and to see resistance from their parents at that time, after all. But soon, I realized she was growing brattier by the year. Even then, Adam loved her, so I didn't mind this change as my contact with her was still limited. During her first year of college, though, she got into a lot of trouble. At this time, I and Adam had gotten married, so I kind of had the front seat on what happened at that time. My parents-in-law loved Melissa, but to teach her a lesson, they gave her an ultimatum. They stopped paying for her college and told her to work for herself to pay for tuition. Adam did not like this very much. He was very protective of the people around him, especially Melissa. So, when he wanted to pay for her tuition fee himself, I didn't hold him back. I liked that he had her back, even if it went against his own parents. Behind Adam's parents' back, we started to pay for her tuition. Later on, we found out that her parents had offered to start paying her tuition again, having had a change of heart for their little girl. Melissa had angrily refused, without giving any further explanation of how she would be paying. It was okay for some time until Melissa started to ask Adam for more money about 3 years ago for other frivolous things. Adam initially complied, but we soon found out that she'd dropped out of college. Adam had a huge fight with Melissa, right in our house. When it was over, Adam told me that he was scared for his sister's future, and I understood it. Either way, he was a big, protective brother at heart. I understood that as well, so we kept paying for her and helping her financially. For the past 3 years, we have been supporting my sister-in-law behind our family's back as she tries to get her footing. As far as I know, she's quit or been fired from many jobs, but she loves flaunting things she buys with Adam's money for her family. Adam reluctantly lets her in. For example, a few months ago, she'd shown up with a bag from a very expensive luxury brand. She got so many compliments for it, but when I saw Adam's face, he was not happy about this behavior of hers. By then, we were the ones paying her apartment rent, and for her designer clothes and bags, nobody knew. Melissa didn't tell them either. I think I heard her say something mean to her cousin, who wasn't in the best financial situation at the time, about her clothes as well. This happened a few times. It was clear to both of us that Melissa was a bit materialistic, and maybe the way her parents and Adam had pampered her was at fault for it. So, one day, Adam came to me with a brilliant plan. Christmas was approaching, and Adam decided that instead of giving Melissa a designer watch as we had planned earlier, we should give her something sentimental that would remind her that we support and love her, and that material things weren't everything. We brainstormed ideas that night. Our 4-year-old son told us that he saw a TikTok of someone making a huge card with so many pictures in it. We all got to it. Adam and I spent hours collecting our family's pictures with Melissa and made a thick card. Even our son helped. Adam had so much fun and hoped that Melissa would love his hard work. He thought it would bring them closer. It was actually an impressive card. It had so many unique pockets and maneuvers to see all the pictures and notes. It looked very professional if you ask me. On Christmas Day, as Melissa opened her gifts from other family members, she was very happy. She got designer things from my in-laws. That made Adam a bit nervous, but he hoped that Melissa knew how much he loved her and would appreciate his hard work. Just in case, he had still gotten a designer watch for her, She was, after all, still his baby sister. When Melissa opened our gift, her face fell, and she looked at us in confusion for a second. She said, "A card?" with a very disgusted face. Then she asked us if we were so cheap that we couldn't even buy her a proper present. Adam's face fell. Our son encouraged her to open it, but Melissa ignored him, which made me so angry. Noah grew silent and retreated back into me. After all, it was his gift idea. She said that our gift was nothing in comparison to her parents' and family's gifts. She called us petty for pulling such a stunt on her. She made Adam and I feel so cheap in front of everyone, and she did that knowing that only we knew that we were paying for her lifestyle at this point. Adam, in anger and embarrassment, did not give her the backup watch either. I was embarrassed myself. I almost blurted out that we were paying for everything she had. But I kept my tongue. She was Adam's sister after all. My mother-in-law, Bertha, was not very thrilled about our gift either. She told me that we should have tried harder, that Adam should have tried harder, and that Melissa is his only sister. She could not understand how Adam, who cared about his sister, could do something this petty to her. In short, she implied that I influenced Adam to give his sister a petty gift. I kept my mouth shut, not wanting to reveal too much without Adam's approval. It is the day after Christmas. When we went to bed last night, Noah apologized and cried to me, saying that he should have let his dad give his aunt the watch he was planning to give her before. I told him that it was a great gift and that it wasn't his fault that she did not appreciate such a thoughtful gift. I am sure her card is still unopened in my in-laws' living room downstairs. Even Adam's spirits were down for the rest of the day as well. I tried to cheer him up, but it was clear that his mood was ruined. By the end of the day, Adam was ready to talk about how disappointed he was in his sister. He blamed himself for being so compliant and supportive of his sister, even when their parents had been right all those years ago when they stopped paying for her expenses. I didn't disagree with that. Melissa needed to do better, if not for us, then for herself. He does not want to support her forever, after all. So I suggested we do the same thing as his parents did all those years ago. Adam was horrified. He was not mad at me for suggesting it. He just said that I wouldn't understand, as I didn't have a sibling. I kind of agree with that. I would not understand the bond Adam has with Melissa. I don't have any plans to pressure him into it, but I do wish that he would at least consider the suggestion. Since this morning, she hasn't even looked at us, giving us a cold shoulder. Bertha is also like that. Melissa even ignored our 4-year-old when he asked her to help him with something. I am livid, but overall, he did not want to teach her a lesson. So, I did not tell my in-laws about who paid Melissa's expenses, nor neither we stopped paying for her. But I am so tempted. I am tempted to tell everyone that she was cruel to us in front of our extended family like that. It was humiliating for us. Any advice on whether I should do either of the things, or maybe something entirely different? Top comments. Positive comment. I think you and Adam should take a step to show Melissa that she cannot take you guys for granted like that. She has been horrible to you, especially after knowing fully well that you guys have been paying for her expensive lifestyle for years. She needs to learn to be financially independent. Not everyone has such a supportive family behind them, and they still manage to get their footing. So, she should be fine without such pampering. And she is 24. Everyone struggles at that age. She is not special and needs to take responsibility for her own actions. She needs to learn that her actions have consequences, and that she should respect other people's feelings and efforts too. Nobody should be taken for granted, especially family, but I understand that family relationships can be complicated. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I am sure you will do the right thing for your family. Negative comment. Okay, so let me get this straight. Your husband and his parents always made her feel special and supported her. And suddenly, when she got into trouble, you guys bailed on her? That is toxic parenting right there. Of course, she is a bit bratty. She grew up in an environment that benefited her by being like that. Yes, her reaction wasn't the best. She should have been grateful, but blaming her for her upbringing is wild. How is it her fault that she was everyone's favorite, hence everything? If you wanted her to grow up differently, maybe your husband should have set boundaries with her when she was a kid and not given her everything when she was young. And now you talk about a lesson. Let's call it what it actually is, revenge. Do you want to take revenge for something she did not have control over? That sounds shitty and petty of you. Update 1. Hey, it's Sarah again with an update. It has not been long at all. In fact, it's the day of the new year. The days after Christmas were tense in my in-laws' house, where we were spending Christmas and the New Year. The home decorations were so odd, given the awkwardness of the family. There have been many birthday comments from both Melissa and Bertha, my mother-in-law, always behind Adam's back. One of the few days I remember Noah was in a good mood. He usually likes playing with my purses, pretending they are her daddy's briefcase with important documents. He randomly picked up Melissa's purse, which was sitting in the living room. When Melissa strolled in, she was mad at Noah, as I could tell, but at least she did not yell at him. She told him that her purse was way too expensive to be touched like that. I told her that it was okay. Noah has never ruined any of my purses, and he treats the purses like Adam treats his briefcase. Then Melissa told me that if only I had given her a new purse, maybe she could have let Noah play with this old one. I told her that the card was a thoughtful gesture from us, a sign of our love and support for her. She said that if it was a sign, it was a sign of being cheap and petty. Anyone can make a card, even a nursery kid. His brother would never give her something like that unless he was manipulated. I told her to say what she wanted straight to my face and not talk in circles. She accused me of being a bad influence on his brother and of stealing her protective brother from her. Adam, in his right mind, would never gift her something like that unless I poisoned his mind with false things. Of course, all of that was a lie. I have never tried to step into their relationship. I know and respect Adam for his love for his sister. But I was so mad that I wanted to fling the fact that we were not cheap. Otherwise, we would not be paying for her expensive lifestyle. But some other family members had entered the room. Once, Bertha even implied that I was now a part of their family. I should know better. I should have persuaded Adam to give her that petty card. That we can do better. There were a few more times when we were made to feel shitty, some in front of the extended family too. I have had enough. Once we were back at our house, I told Adam about every mean and cruel thing his sister and mother had said to me. And he was so disappointed, but not angry. I was angry. So, I announced that I was going to stop paying for her expensive lifestyle if she couldn't even be grateful to us for it. Adam was reluctant, but I told him that if he ever wanted his sister to be financially independent, this would be the only time. So, when I called Melissa over to tell her about our decision, he did not say much. Melissa was, of course, mad. I told her that it was her own habits that forced me to make this decision. She spends too much of our money on expensive luxury items when, frankly, she should be focusing on building a stable future. She yelled at Adam to handle his wife better than this, and that I couldn't interfere with their sibling relationship. At this point, Adam had just walked away. When he was gone, she accused me of being a thorn in her side ever since I married Adam. Honestly, I do not feel any remorse for doing this. I think I should. After all, it wasn't her fault that he grew up in a very loving and pampering family. She was always made to believe that she would always have a safety net, either with her parents or her brother. Do you think we made the right decision? Update 2. Hey, it is Sarah again. I have an update on my sister-in-law's situation. It's been about a month, and ever since our last fight, we have not seen Melissa, as there haven't been any family events. Melissa has not contacted us either. However, through my father-in-law, who contacted Adam, I found out that Melissa had asked her parents to pay the rent for her apartment, saying she has lost her job and can't afford to pay this month. Adam told him to not pay for it, or she would ask them to do it forever. My father-in-law must have told my mother-in-law, as my MIL had called me soon after. He told me that I should be a good wife and persuaded his son to help Melissa out this month. She is hardworking and will find another job in no time like she has for the past few years. Having had enough, I told her everything. I told her that we had been paying for her apartment ever since she got it. All the expensive things she has been flaunting for years were bought by Adam and my hard-earned money. And Melissa has not had any jobs for the past few months. She was codependent, and if they helped her, Melissa would start to take them for granted just like she did us. Hearing this, she was shocked and scoffed at me. She said that Melissa was paying for her things with her management job, that helping family here and there was not a big deal, but we had been paying for everything. She said that it clearly is a lie. Melissa had not mentioned anything about this. I should stop spreading lies about Melissa to her own mother. if this was how I had manipulated Adam into being a bad brother. She was horrified, thinking that I was forming a rift between the siblings for my own amusement. I was so shocked and hurt that she wouldn't believe me. So I told her that if she did not believe her daughter-in-law, she should just ask her son about it and cut the call. I am so angry at both of them now. How dare she call me a liar? After I told Adam of his mother's reaction, he did think that telling them about it was the right thing to do. Maybe that would teach them not to help her instantly. He had talked to his mother too, who could not believe that his son had never told her about any of this. He told her that he just wanted his sister to succeed, and if some help was what she needed, he was ready to provide it. But it had been too much lately. There were no apologies for what she said to me, of course. MIL did persuade his husband to pay for Melissa, though, just this month. Their precious daughter will get to her feet soon enough. I did not harbor any such hopes. If she couldn't do it in the last 3 years with our help, she would not be doing it with their help either. Update 3. Hello, it's Sarah. It has been some time now, 3 months to be exact. We have been to Adam's parents' house a couple of times. Melissa has also been there. Adam once overheard his parents talking about Melissa by mistake. His father had conceded to Bertha that they could no longer afford to pay for Melissa's extravagance if they wanted to save anything for their own future. Adam had been so sad for them, and angry that Melissa did not have even a little care for how her actions were harming her own family. She was still buying expensive things and living in that too expensive apartment. Just last week, Bertha and Rob sat us all down for dinner to have a serious discussion. They brought up Melissa's reckless expenses. Melissa immediately lashed out, saying that they were just like me, not giving her enough time to get her footing. Bertha tried to intervene as gently as possible. It was not about Melissa. It was about the fact that they really could not afford to support her anymore. She tried to console her, saying that this doesn't mean they are giving up on her. They do want her to be successful. Melissa then told her to persuade us to pay for her in the meantime. I flat out declined it. I told her if she was going to be ungrateful, she would not have any sort of support from us. She did not dare blame me for anything in front of everyone, though. Bertha instead went to Adam, knowing his protective big brother instinct. She told him to support her sister. It would just be for a few months. But Adam would not budge, and told her that that was exactly what she said when Melissa had come to get their help. She clearly would not be learning her lesson unless everyone dropped their support. She needed to be more responsible. This would be an excellent situation for her to learn this life lesson. Rob, having had enough of her bratty daughter, told her to cut down on her expenses. He told her to stop buying these unnecessary luxury bags and designer clothes instead. Melissa was angry, saying that she couldn't believe that her own father didn't want her to live in comfort. She asked if they wanted her to be poor, struggle, and have no respect in front of the extended family. By this time, Melissa had had enough and had left the house without even touching her dinner. Bertha could not believe us for letting her daughter be angry at her like this and saying that we wouldn't do anything to help Melissa. She was angry with all of us. She left for her room as well. Rob stayed and apologized. It was not necessary. We finished our dinner alone and helped Rob clean up before we left. This only confirms that this was the right decision. Clearly, Melissa is not going to get better, even after taking her parents' help. Update 4. Hello, it's Sarah again. I have an update on my sister-in-law's drama. It has only been 2 weeks since Melissa got mad and walked out of our family dinner after everyone denied her financial help. She was forced to leave her previous apartment and move into another. We had shown up to help pack and even paid for the movers. As we helped Melissa pack, she whispered to me that it was all my fault. If I hadn't given her that stupid gift, none of this would have happened. I told her that if she had just accepted the gift and been grateful, none of this would have happened. We spent most of the day packing. I suggested to Bertha that maybe Melissa could sell some of the luxury bags. Bertha had not taken it in stride. She told me that paying for her again would be an even better decision. At least the family would not have to be humiliated like this. I ignored her. They both whined the whole time. Bertha still could not fathom how her son could let his daughter stay in such unfortunate circumstances. The new apartment wasn't that shabby. Everyone in their early 20s had to live in an apartment like this. Adam and I did too in our days. Everyone had to start somewhere, and Rob had found this affordable apartment for her with his own contacts. The new apartment was big enough for a single person, but clearly not for Melissa. She was still mad. She announced that she couldn't believe that her family was letting all of this happen to her. Everything over a stupid Christmas card. I told her that it was not just about the Christmas gift. She told me that it was easy for me to say that I still had Adam with his money. Taken aback, I froze. That was not true at all. It wasn't just Adam, but my hard-earned money as well that paid for her stupid apartment. Adam had pounced on his sister. He started yelling at her for first being ungrateful and now just plain cruel. Bertha had told him to calm down. Melissa was just down on her luck and in a bad mood because she left her previous apartment. Adam had had enough and led me out of there that instant. On our way back, he was seething. He rambled about how his sister could not even muster a small thank you for helping her move, let alone for taking care of her financially. He kept apologizing to me for letting his sister talk to me like that as well. I tried to calm him down. It was not his fault. He should be easier on himself and not take on the blame. But I know Adam is very disappointed in his sister as well as his mother. I tried to cheer him up with the prospect of Noah's birthday, which is in a few days. At least Adam now sees Melissa and her childishness a bit clearly. Update 5. Hello, it's Sarah again with an update. It has only been a couple of days, not even 2 weeks yet. And yesterday we celebrated my son's birthday at home. We invited some of our family and Noah's friends over. We of course also invited Melissa. She is Noah's aunt after all. Sure, we haven't had any sort of significant contact with her since the day we left her in her new apartment, but she is still family. Things were going really great. The kids were playing in the backyard as they drank sodas. Us adults were keeping one eye on them and having a little fun of our own in the living room. Maybe Melissa got too drunk, or it was just her personality, but she stood up and walked to me. She said, loud enough for everyone to hear, including our extended family present in that room, that she couldn't believe how selfish we were. We can afford to throw lavish parties for our son while denying her any sort of financial help in her time of need. My cheeks burned with embarrassment because she was lying again. We can afford it, but that wasn't the point we wanted her to learn. She was manipulating the situation to paint us as the bad guys. To paint me as the bad guy. Adam told his sister to shut up and sit down. Melissa lashed out at him instead. I say that, of course, he will do exactly what I tell him. I have him wrapped around my little finger. He manipulates him so much that he has no love for his little sister anymore. She called me names, at which point Adam had had enough. He pushed her sister out of the room, and I, Bertha, and Rob followed, apologizing to the others for her unruly behavior. Instead of Adam being the one to finish it, I told Melissa to leave. I told her to leave and never come back. She was no longer invited to my house. Bertha was horrified, but Adam told her to stop. I was not overreacting. Melissa thrashed in his grip until Adam led her to the front door. Adam tells her that he has finally seen her true colors and has accepted that she is never going to change. Then he slammed the door in her face. I went back and apologized for the scene everyone had to witness. At least the kids were oblivious in the backyard. The extended family was sympathetic, and we went back to celebrating. At the end of the day, Rob told us that he had had enough of his daughter as well. He would no longer give or let Bertha give Melissa even a single penny. She needs to learn how to struggle. Bertha was still mad at us and her husband for our decision, but Rob will keep an eye out for his wife. I feel so much better. I can finally stop thinking about my sister-in-law's toxic drama. Adam was sad, but I am so grateful that he stood up for me like that. Update 6. Hello, it's Sarah. Hopefully here for the last time. It has been about 6 months since my last post, so I thought I would update you guys about how our lives are going. First of all, we have not seen Melissa at all. We have received calls and texts from her asking for help. Adam refused. It ends up with Melissa having to pay her own rent after working on her own. Rob did not let Bertha interfere either. I know it must have been difficult for all of them to see Melissa suffer and struggle like that, especially Bertha. But ever since we cut off ties with her, I have felt a sense of peace. Not having to interact with such a toxic person has made me relax a bit. Adam has also been doing great, focusing on his work and family life more. I cannot be more grateful that all of this is over finally. Bertha is no longer as angry with us as before. Mind you, she is still mad that we did not help her daughter, but when they come over, she brings dessert with them. She also babysits Noah without any complaints. She even went to brunch with me and my mother once. It's a slow process to mend our relationship with her, but better slow than never. She has been keeping tabs on Melissa, and all the news we get about her is through her. Melissa finally took up my advice and sold some of her designer clothes and bags to better support herself. She is still between jobs though. Adam just hopes she will get a handle on herself and no one will have to interfere with her life again. I think we did the right thing. I have been breathing a bit better ever since we cut off ties with her.